is happening, Magnusites? Fan 4-stick, first steps. We're going to get a breakdown on all the Easter eggs and details and everything. Get over and follow the Cosmic Wonder. Tell him Tyrone Magnus sent you, because he knows comic books. Now, let's find out what's happening here. That's it's a hokey poster.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder. We have our first full official trailer for the
Yes, we do, sir.
Four. And right away, I would love to know what you thought about the trailer in the comments down below. Did you like
Meh.
it? Did you not like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let us know. Now, Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, told us that this isn't going to be a traditional origin story for the Fantastic Four. Why? Well, because we've heard it before, we've seen it before in other movies. However, it doesn't mean they aren't going to tell us in the movie how they got their powers. They're simply not going to focus a lot of time on how they got their powers. And that
It feels like they told us in the trailer. You know, they go into space. Seems like the country knows. They're like these national heroes. I read into that. I was reading between the lines. That's what it felt like to me. Like, that's how they got the powers. You know, something happened up there. They came back with powers, but maybe not. Maybe, but we'll see.
That's why the trailer starts off with the Ted Gilbert show, and he is stating, well, folks, we all know the story. This is basically Marvel Studios telling us, we know the story of the Fantastic Four. We're not going to take the whole entire movie to get into it, because we know it. 4 brave astronauts head up into space, and this is, of course, our Fantastic Four team.
Yep.
Reed Richards, a.k.a. Mr. Fantastic. Sue Storm, the Invisible
Looks nothing like Reed Richards. Oh, boy.
Woman, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, and Ben Grimm, the Thing. They all go up into space and come back forever changed. In the comics, they go up to space in an experimental spaceflight that exposes them to cosmic rays, which gives them their superhuman powers. And unlike some...
And you're the Cosmic Wonder. Were you also exposed to cosmic rays? I think you just told on yourself, sir.
superheroes, the Fantastic Four choose to not hide their identities or hide the fact that they have powers. And because of that, they become very, very famous. As you can see, they are, in this trailer, on this world. Now, something very important to note is that this is not the main world, the main universe that the Avengers are in.
Nope.
That main universe, the Sacred Timeline, is Earth 616. This is a different universe. We don't know what it is titled. Timeline.
It just made me think of, you see this look on Tony's face? It reminds me, because it's not the same face at all, really, but it kind of reminds me, because he's staring, it reminds me of the scene where Iron Man is talking to the Guardians of the Galaxy. And in arguably the greatest superhero movie of all times, Infinity War, and Mantis, he says something, I forgot what he asked them. She's like, what? Take ass, kick names. Or kick names, take ass. And Jack's like, yeah, that's right. Tony's like the stupidity that my genius intellect has to deal with now. That's the look that I have on my face whenever Marvel does all these dumb decisions with their movies. All the stupidity that they're doing with Fantastic Four that just came out, with Thunderbolts, I'm just hoping. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, we are going into the movie theaters, those of us that do go, knowing it's woke. The question is, will it be good? Can you pull off making woke good? Because 99% of all woke entertainment's garbage. That's the reason why so many studios, companies, gaming studios, they're just all losing money. That's the reason why. It just sucks. People don't want to see it. Can you find the diamond in the rough? I doubt it, but we'll see. Like I said, this movie is probably going to be meh to bad, but we'll see.
616. This is a different universe. We don't know what it is titled yet, but what we do know is it is a retro-futuristic universe, and this is taking place during the 60s. But just because it's a different universe doesn't mean that the Fantastic Four aren't still famous. They are, and everybody seems to love them. And based off of the footage that we see here in the beginning of this trailer, when they are going up into space the first time in their astronaut suits, everybody really loved them before when they were just a scientific team, but now that they have come back and they have powers and are fighting crime, people love them even more. The kids are even screaming at the Thing to lift a car because he's so strong, he lifts it, the kids go crazy, and as Ted Gilbert is introducing them, he says, "Our city, our planet owe a debt to these intrepid souls, and while we can never repay them, we can certainly celebrate them." And as he says this, just like it was back in the day, people are watching his show to see the Fantastic Four through windows on the sides of the streets because they want to see the Fantastic Four. Everybody wants to see them, and on the TV screen they even have the people of New York City thanking them. They have a local baker, they have all of the
can't just stop and watch it on your phone now. Back then.
Kids, they have the fire department, they have a citizen on the side of the street drinking coffee, showing us everybody loves them and is grateful for them because in this universe they contributed a lot to the advancement of society. And we learned a lot about this recently thanks to an article that came out by Empire. Reed Richards himself made a ton of advancements in science and technology, which is why this universe, although it is set in the past, does have some things about it that are very futuristic.
Oh, he's got a different color there. Maybe he is the leader.
For example, they have the Fantastic Car that flies. They have flying cars in this universe. And they have robots. We've seen Herbie, but there are other robots that exist in this universe as well, all thanks to Reed Richards. On the other hand, we have heard that there's no war on this planet, and that is due to Sue Storm. She demilitarized, basically, the planet. She has achieved world peace. So it's not just the fact that they're superheroes, it's the fact that they really have contributed to the world. Now, in the teaser trailer, they showed us that every Sunday at...
I'm hearing that song in my head in the trailer. Boom, 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 boom. It's reminding me of the Squid Game. Maybe it's their way of subliminally telling us that they're looking to scare and terrify the fans with this movie. I could be wrong, though.
7 p.m., the Fantastic Four meet for dinner no matter what. And they do, but this time, Sue and Reed are late, and Johnny calls them out for it. But not before grabbing a box of Lucky Charms, in which if you take a close look on the back of the box, you can see his Human Torch is on the back of it. Again, showing how famous they are. They are literally on cereal boxes. Red Guardian of the Thunderbolts would be jealous since he really wants to be on a Wheaties box. But Johnny says, "You're late." And clearly, Sue and Reed either just came from the doctors or just came from talking about the fact that Sue Storm is pregnant because she is very taken aback by Johnny saying, "You're late." Because she is kind of interpreting that as, what do you mean I'm late? How does he know I'm late for that time of the month? And I'm pregnant. So she gets taken aback a little bit and she says, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Well, what do you mean? What do I mean? You're late for dinner. We do this every single Sunday at 7 p.m. However, it looks like Ben Grimm is a little bit more intuitive and catches on to how Sue responds, showing that Ben Grimm is very intuitive. Because keep in mind, Ben and Johnny are still incredibly smart. They are still on the Fantastic Four team even before they were a superhero group. So Ben, with his intuition, figures out that Sue Storm is pregnant and everybody starts to celebrate. Johnny says, "You're going to be a great mom, the best mom in the world." And then he goes to Reed and we start to see some of that Johnny Storm typical humor that people know. He said, "And you're going to be the best dad." Just kidding. You are out of your depth and we are going to be the best uncles ever. But we then get a shot of Reed and Sue together.
Yeah, that was
Sue is saying,
only part
where
where I was like, okay, that's kind of Johnny.
Change. Now, of course, she is replying to the fact that them having a baby isn't going to change anything. It's not going to change anything between Reed and Sue. They're still going to love each other very much and be great parents to this new child. Nothing will change their work. Nothing will change their...
It's definitely not Reed.
team, they're going to have a baby and everything's going to be great. But of course, we start to see that everything is going to change. Not just because of who their baby is, but who is specifically coming for their baby. And of course, that is Galactus.
Independence
the Silver
Day.
Surfer arrives to announce
Galactus.
that the Devourer of Worlds is coming. And this morning, Marvel Studios sent out a synopsis, and this is what it says. Showcasing Marvel's first family, Silver Surfer, Herbie, and the retro-futuristic 1960s vibe of Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four First Steps, a new trailer, poster, and film, and stills are now available to download and share. Opening in theaters July 25th, Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four First Steps introduces Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm as they face their most daunting challenge yet. Forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond, they must defend Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his enigmatic herald, Silver Surfer, played by Julia Gardner. And if Galactus' plan to devour the entire planet and everyone on it weren't bad enough, it suddenly gets very personal. Now, right away, the Silver Surfer has not been gender swapped. This is not Norrin Rad in a female version. I'll explain exactly who this is and why this actually makes perfect sense. This Silver Surfer is not Norrin Rad, the Silver Surfer who most people know. Rather, this is the woman that he loves and loves him in return, his lover, Shala Bal, from his home planet, Zin La. They are together and with each other when Galactus originally comes for their planet, and Norrin Rad sacrifices himself to be the Silver Surfer for Galactus in order for him to spare their planet. Now, from there, she has a very long and kind of complicated backstory. She gets manipulated by Mephisto. Mephisto actually drops her off in Latveria. Dr. Doom himself erases her mind and calls her Helena. So she becomes very loyal to Dr. Doom because she has no memories. And then Dr. Doom uses the fact that he has her, that he has Norrin Rad's lover, as collateral against the Silver Surfer. He summons the Silver Surfer and he gives him an ultimatum. Get the Fantastic Four, destroy them, or never be reunited with your lover again. And the Silver Surfer does get them. However, he doesn't annihilate them. He simply puts them under a trance and delivers them to Dr. Doom. However, the Silver Surfer realized that that was just a distraction. Doom really wanted the power cosmic, which is the power the Silver Surfer has given to him by Galactus. Galactus gives his heralds, which is what the Silver Surfer is.
That's why he was riding it in the second movie.
Seeks out planets for Galactus to devour and gain energy from, and he gives them the power cosmic so they can do so. And Doom ends up able to access the power cosmic, and he puts a duplicate Silver Surfer out there in one of his bots. Now, I mention all of this because it directly ties to Dr. Doom, who of course is going to be the main villain of Marvel's next film, Avengers Doomsday, and also the main villain of Avengers Secret Wars. The fact that Shala Bal is so tied to Dr. Doom, story-wise, means that there might be a bit of a tease for Dr. Doom in the movie. However, even if there's not, we've heard rumors that the post-credit scene will involve Dr. Doom, which does make sense, because the next movie is Doomsday, and they would do a post-credit setting up Dr. Doom. But here's the kicker. Shala Bal, in an alternate universe, Earth 9997, she becomes the Silver Surfer instead of Norrin Rad. Well, like I mentioned, the Fantastic Four takes place in an alternate universe. As far as we know, this could actually be Earth 9997. And that's actually why this is kind of brilliant. We know the Fantastic Four are eventually going to end up in our main 616 timeline. And we know that after...
I disagree there. Not brilliant, but... yeah.
Your Secret Wars, the multiverse, and our main universe are never going to be the same. In fact, the entire multiverse is most likely going to be destroyed at the end of Avengers Doomsday, which means the Galactus of this universe and the Silver Surfer of this universe will be destroyed. So when it comes down to our main universe getting a Galactus and a Silver Surfer, that is most likely going to be Norrin Rad. And that is really why that they aren't introducing Norrin Rad in this, because we know that we most likely won't ever see this universe again. Therefore, we won't really ever see this Silver Surfer again.
There's all types of variants that they can make. All types. You can do a male Silver Surfer and still do a male Silver Surfer in the next universe. No, absolutely not. They know what the fans wanted. We know why they chose her to check a box. And, you know, the fans know. The fans know. They're not fooled by any explanations that Disney may put out saying what now. They know why they chose to do that. So we'll just have to wait to the future and see if they eventually give us Norrin Rad. We'll just have to wait and see.
again. And for that reason, instead of giving us Norrin Rad, they give us Shel-El Bal, and we'll get Norrin Rad later on in the future, so don't sweat about that. So she comes to Earth, and it kind of seems like she makes an announcement asking for the protectors of the planet, and then the Fantastic Four show up. The Silver Surfer has to confirm, are you the protectors of this world? And Sue Storm says yes, and she lets them know that their planet has been marked for death. Of course, this is because Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds, is coming. Now, it kind of seems like she might not initially tell them that Galactus is coming. She just simply shows up and says, your planet's marked for death. Good luck, and then takes off. But Johnny Storm follows her, basically up to space, probably pushing the limits of what he's ever done before. And I'm assuming...
Oh yeah, and people were talking about that. It's like they're doing the second movie again in a different way. It's like there's the torch chasing the surfer. Like it feels like that. It's like it's the second movie, except in a different way of the first two. You know what I'm talking about. So
that he asks her in this moment, why is our planet marked for death? And she might say, Galactus is coming, the Devourer of Worlds, and she might explain who he is. Now, then we hear Reed say, it's my fault, I stretched the bounds of space, and they heard. And while he could most certainly be talking about space travel, I don't think that's what he is referring to here in this scene when he's talking to Sue. He definitely seems to blame himself, but when he says, I pushed the bounds of space, I believe he is talking about a multiversal travel device. In the first original teaser trailer, we already saw on his blackboard what seemed to be a multiversal gate. I think that is what he is referring to, because if you think about it, even though it's in an alternate universe, Galactus still visits thousands upon thousands upon thousands of planets to devour. I can't imagine that this Earth is the first planet to achieve space travel in a huge Marvel universe.
Huge.
So going into space probably wouldn't really trigger anything. Perhaps everything that Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four have done on the Earth might have triggered some things. But again, when he says he stretched the bounds of space, I believe he's talking about him trying to travel through space, not into space, but through space, through the multiverse, with his multiverse travel machine that he's trying to build. And then it gets very personal, as the official synopsis says. But when this all happens, we can see that the people of New York City, and really Earth, look to the Fantastic Four to help them, and they even ask, are we safe? And Reed, never having dealt with anything like this before, he straight up says, I don't know, but they are seemingly going back up into space. This could be to try and confront Galactus, or maybe confront the Silver Surfer. This could be to check out something related to his multiverse travel device. But ultimately we know, because it shows you in this trailer, you just have to look very close, that they are going to fight Galactus in New York City. Reed Richards keeps searching for a solution on his blackboard. He goes through a lot of different equations, but he keeps crossing them out, failing to achieve whatever he's trying to do. Again, this could be related to multiverse travel. It would make sense. If their world's gonna die, they might need to leave. But it seems like whatever they do, it doesn't work. Reed says we don't have enough time, but Sue, leaning over her future baby's crib, or perhaps current baby, he could actually be in that crib and Marvel could have removed him with CGI not to give it away. She says, I'm not giving up, and it's primarily due to the fact that they are going to be, or are, parents now, and they are still the protectors of the world. But Galactus is actually coming for their baby, Franklin Richards. In the comics, Franklin Richards is one of the most powerful Marvel characters to ever have existed.
Yep.
And his powers, while there are many, and his power is virtually unlimited.
They show the picture of him making the galaxy.
Galactus from the dead.
Everyone shows that one.
He
Everyone
uses
shows power.
Galactus as his herald. Galactus becomes the herald of Franklin Richards.
Yeah,
He's
that's
incredibly
crazy.
powerful, but he has the ability to create universes. And for a being like Galactus, who constantly needs to feed, that is probably very appealing. So that is why Galactus is going to be coming for their son. And honestly, that might be how the Fantastic Four end up in our main 616 universe. Reed finally figures out how to multiverse travel, and he realizes that Galactus is going to keep coming for them to try to get Franklin, so they have to leave. But Galactus eventually does get to Earth, because we can see him in this scene where Mr. Fantastic is stretching. We finally get to see him stretching, and you can go ahead and let me know what you think about how it looks in the comments down below. But if you take a look in the scene, you can see what is Galactus's head. So they will be physically fighting Galactus on Earth. Now, of course, he is huge, but he doesn't seem to be as big or a lot bigger than the planet in this scene. Again, Galactus can change sizes. So what I've been theorizing happens here is he changes his size to get a little bit smaller so he can actually walk upon Earth, as we see in the final scenes of this trailer. But that is the only reason reason they are actually able to fight Galactus. Now, in this scene, Reed does have some type of a rod in his hand. Now, right away, when I think rod, I think of the cosmic control rod, which can manipulate cosmic energy. Not the power cosmic, but cosmic energy. However, unless they kind of change some of its properties...
Man, I hope they do a Spidey Goes Cosmic movie. Oh my God, I hope they do that. Ooh, I still got that comic book when he punched the Hulk in the orbit. Man.
How it works within the negative zone, I don't think that's what this is. It could perhaps be a version of the Ultimate Nullifier, which is what the Fantastic Four used to defeat Galactus in the comics, which means they changed the design of it quite a bit, because in the comics, Reed Richards can hold the Ultimate Nullifier in one of his hands. So it's a handheld device compared to a giant rod. But ultimately, this could be the Ultimate Nullifier, simply redesigned for the MCU. Originally, it's not found on Earth. It's originally created by the Watcher Mnu, and Johnny Storm retrieves it from the home of Galactus, Ta-2. But since the Fantastic Four are geniuses, perhaps they did create this. And the reason it's called the Ultimate Nullifier is because it has the ability to completely eliminate any target that the wielder chooses. This could be how they get rid of Galactus. In the comics, they don't actually use it on him, but Reed threatens him with it, which causes Galactus to leave. But Galactus returns many times throughout the comics, which could be why, again, the Fantastic Four decide they have to leave their universe because Galactus will always come for their world if they are there with their son, Franklin Richards, who Galactus wants. And there is always the possibility that Galactus could actually devour this world, and in order to save just their own lives, they leave through Reed's multiversal travel device. But that is our official trailer for the...
All right, y'all. Yeah, the trailer was extremely okay. This is what it is. I am hoping that this movie will prove me wrong. I want it to prove me wrong. I want to go to the theater and just be so pleasantly surprised. Just like, my God, it blew my socks off. That's what I want. But do I predict? What do I think will happen? Well, let's just say it's not that. Post your comments down below. Let me know what y'all think. If you enjoyed my reaction, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers.